Hello, all you fellow Dusty Dogs and Travelers of the Trail out there. My name is Dusty Odie here for DIOT Gaming, and welcome back to Winds of Change. I apologize for my little diversion yesterday. As fun though it was, I was stupid tired because I haven't been getting a lot of sleep in the heat, which seems appropriate considering we're going through Alarinthia right now. But yeah, so I was having a couple of sleepless nights. I just needed some time to fucking recoup myself yesterday or the last couple of days, which is why I didn't do one on Monday and had to do the one on Tuesday. And I'm like, no, I missed one. So yeah, Mario Golf instead for a little bit, but you survived, didn't you? But yeah, so we're finally back to Winds of Change, because fucking finally got here. um, so yeah, it is now time for us to go to the castle and see if we can't meet with Draycu. Travel to castle? Yes. Oh wait, there's a couple of things I need to check. It took them all off, you dumb. Back seating allowed. Update. There we go. Did not want to earlier. Okay. So, castle front. We enter the castle gates, and to my surprise, I see trees like back at home. There's grass, too, almost as green as the grass in Valinor. I have no idea how Draycu got this here, but it sure wasn't cheap.
Wow, this is incredible. I know you said he was rich, but this is crazy. I've never seen such a fancy place. Not in my entire life.
You're going through the audio. I want to turn this up just a hair. Hopefully that's not blasting. Dominic steps forward, clearly amazed as well.
So this is where Draycu lives. It seems a bit excessive, don't you think? I prefer our tunnels, a lot more secretive.
Alarinthia is all about showcasing your power. Most rulers add a wing or two to the castle during their reign. It's only going to get bigger and bigger with each passing year.
A wing or two.
Unless, of course, Vivian takes over. He's not fixated on that kind of stuff.
I can't imagine it getting much bigger, to be honest. What does one ruler need to do with all that space?
Well, he has a large army as well. Larger than Vivian's. But don't let that sway us. I think you've seen enough to know that this place needs changing.
Right, of course. So what, do we just march right in? I don't see any guards or security.
I look around and he's right. I just see lots of partygoers. They're all sipping some sort of alcohol and they look at peace. I suppose this is one way to stop the people from fighting back. I notice a large man exit the castle gates and slowly approach us. He's not carrying any weapons, so I doubt he's some sort of security. He looks intimidating, of course, but that's about it. Is this Westy?
I'll take care of this, just like before. We can't risk slipping up in this castle. One misstep, and everyone will be after us.
Does this mean I'm going to be quick saving after every single decision? We all step back, trusting Ulrich's word. He takes a few steps forward, meeting the mysterious man. Something tells me that this is Draycu's guard. I just know it.
Westy, I presume. That's an interesting name, you know?
It's a nickname for your information. And you must be Ulrich. You sure stand out.
Well, your profile certainly looks cheery. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's a Cheshire Cat grin almost. And yet for some reason it seems yeah, no, that's the way I was gonna put. Yeah, that's the way you put it. Softer than Vivian's and. Fuck is the other name? It's been almost a week. I'm also very tired still, but this time just because I got up a little bit late.
Yes, we come in peace, don't worry. We are here for the ball, and Draycu. Is it possible to request an audience?
He's a busy man, you know.
So am I, so don't waste our time. Can we have an audience or not?
Westy sighs and crosses his arms.
Fine, fine. I'll let you in to see him. He's been expecting you, you know. We've been keeping watch since the docks.
Okay.
Just like Vivian's man.
Yeah, but we let him get to you first. It's not often an army comes here from the mainland. We wanted to hear his offer, so we could top it.
Okay, I'll give you this. You're shrewd. Is my microphone even on? I cannot tell. There we go. Okay, there's a couple of things that are weird here in my Streamlabs that I might have to check later, but I'll check. Well, I'll do that later, as I said. Let's do that so I can see.
And top it. Draycu wants our army as well. We're starting to become popular around here.
Don't let that get to your head, Ulrich. You're just as disposable to him as Vivian. You just happen to be both disposable and strong.
You might want to work on your public relations skills.
Look at this ball and then say that to me again. That's right, you can't. Now let's get going. I'll be inside the gates when you're ready.
You have an oddly cheerful demeanor for how you're talking. The profile picture does not match the tone of your voice. I mean, imagine him saying that with his fucking growly, not exactly like stern-toned, not exactly the friendliest tone, it's more stern. Look at this ball, and then say that to me again. Like, totally just Cheshire Cat grinning the whole way. To a certain extent, that makes me more scared of you than before. He walks away, leaving Ulrich to turn back to us. So it seems like everybody has a use for us in this place. Vivian was probably right. Draycu would use us to fight him.
Well, that makes things easier, doesn't it? This is going to go exactly like we expected. Let's just help Vivian and get this over with. Draycu has a bigger army, but Vivian has a brighter future. And that's what we were fighting for, remember? A better future. It might be a bit harder to win, but we can still do it.
Everybody nods, agreeing on this unanimously. It makes sense since they didn't want to fight Ulrich. But ultimately, the final decision would be up to me.
This seems to be going pretty well. I hope we're not walking into a trap.
Draycu wouldn't try anything during his ball. This is about making the people happy, not scared. Let's hear him out, and get this over with for good.
Sure, sounds good to me. On your mark, Monarch.
You'll spread out and start looking around the area. Dominic was right, everything seems to be going so well. We deserve it after what we went through. That's what I think. It's crazy to think that within a few days we'd be attacking Balteus. We couldn't waste any time. We'd go right after securing this alliance. But I think back to the moment on the ship where I touched the blade. I wanted it to show me our victory, and it showed me nothing. Pushing forward in spite of that. That was the definition of hope. If there was anything that would help us win this war, it's that hope. Okay. We'll do a little flavor, because I haven't done this very much. How did they get these trees to live in this weather? They look like trees back in the mainland. They don't belong here. It must require a tremendous amount of care to ensure they stay alive. If anything, it's to make me feel less homesick. A part of the mainland is right here with me and my comrades. That puts me at ease, so I choose not to question this further. The castle is massive. I've never seen anything like it. I wonder if the Triumvirate's castle will be anything like this. It's crazy to think that each ruler adds more and more onto it. That gives it something like a patchwork look. Every ruler had a different taste in design, after all. I can't even imagine the story behind this castle.
Now that's something I'd like to climb. Ulrich, what do you think about that?
No.
I'd rather you didn't. They might think you're breaking in. Or even worse, coming to kill Draycu.
Oh, maybe I'll ask him first then. Do you think he'd give me permission?
I don't think he's the giving type, Fortin. He'd probably just laugh you away and call you a fool.
Wait, really? Then what about this ball? Isn't he just giving all this stuff away?
Well, yeah, but not for free. It's to win the people over, gain their allegiance. He's not doing it to be generous. He has a motive.
True. I'll still give it a shot, though. The worst he can do is say no.
Trust me, he can do far worse than that. Don't ask unless you're ready to handle it.
Okay, got a extended scene. Is this gonna be? Nope. The gates don't seem to lead directly to the castle. There still seems to be a long way to walk once you enter them. I can see the entrance to the actual castle far down a paved road. It almost seems like an experience to approach the castle. It's a little gaudy, but I guess we just have different tastes. Wonder why there's some people partying out here. Are they full inside or something? Or maybe they just wanted to get away from the noise. Either way, this indicated there was a ton of people at the ball.
What's this place for?
Security normally, but there isn't any during the ball. Anybody is just free to walk inside.
Oh, okay. Is security normally heavy?
Yeah, they need to fend off assassins. As a ruler here, you're constantly a target. I can't imagine living in that constant fear.
Wait, what happens if a leader is assassinated? Does the killer become the new ruler of Alaranthia?
No, the killer is usually given the death penalty. And then an open tournament is held to find the strongest man. It's considered cowardly to kill someone when they aren't prepared.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. I was kind of wondering. I mean, Vivian could just easily assassinate Draycu, right? But now it makes sense why they didn't go that route.
Yeah, it would change nothing. Vivian would still need to fight. He'd stand no chance in an open tournament like that. A Colosseum battle is the only way for him to do this.
Would people respect the change if Vivian won? Or would they want to fight him in the Colosseum too?
They'd probably want to fight him for a while, but a ruler can always turn down a challenge. Usually they're arrogant, so they don't do that. And it's not a change they need to respect. No matter what, Vivian is still in charge. He'd likely merge with the new monarchy. And at that point, there's nothing they can do. History's already made, treaty's already signed. That is, if the monarch decides to side with Vivian.
It seems like an easy choice, doesn't it?
I guess we'll see.
Okay, there was actually quite a bit of flavor there. Is this anything new? Nope. There we go. Okay. So... Jesus Christ, the way they put these saves. I don't like it. I should just go back to the map if ever I have to change scenes anyways. Oh, we're going to the throne room first. The throne room is crowded and full of people partying. Normally I imagine this would be reserved for Draycu alone. But right now, open to everybody, it's almost like a big ballroom. A man sits on the throne, watching the people as if it entertains him. That must be Draycu. I scan the room and I notice Vivian in a corner. Since no one knows what he looks like, he must blend in perfectly. He must have snuck ahead of us while we were talking back at the gates. I guess all the pieces were in place. This ball was about to get interesting. I wonder how many people here were part of Vivian's insurrection. Westy stands beside Draycu, and I see them whisper to one another. A few moments later, Draycu stands up, eyeing down me and my comrades. I didn't notice how tall and imposing he was until he stood up. Almost a match for Ulrich. Which now to me makes me assume that Westy is apparently just a little tiny bit smaller?
Silence.
I'm on Vivian's side just because you're so fucking gaudy looking. His deep voice echoes through the entire throne room and everybody stops talking. They turn to him as if out of fear and await his next words, but I know what they'll be. He knows who we are. And with Vivian here, it's likely that he's ready to make a move.
We have those who would disturb the peace among us. Guards, lock the doors. We have some business to take care of.
Okay, they're just throwing us in here, aren't they? He claps his hands once in a commanding gesture. Soon after, a group of people close the throne room doors. They carry no weapons and are disguised as partygoers.
Now, how should we deal with those who disturb the peace? Watching them starve in the cells doesn't do much for me anymore.
This color palette does not work on you, sir. It's very weird because the previous, Vivian and I forget what the heck the golden one's name is. when I hear something described as draconian, or a species or a race described as draconian, that's typically what I imagine. Westy's close, but then starts to look a little weird to me. This is just like, are you Dragonborn D&D? Are you a D&D Dragonborn? You don't look like you have any wing whatsoever. Draycu laughs. The crowd starts shouting out a bunch of potential punishments. Draycu laughs, clearly enjoying all the horrible ideas thrown his way.
I say we hear them out and treat them in kind. So tell us, why did you come here today?
I take a step forward in response, but then Draycu looks the other way. Fixing his view to the corner of the room, I realize he wasn't talking to me.
Vivian.
Everybody looks toward the corner, and Vivian scoffs. Moving forward, he stands in the center of the room.
Draycu.
You come here on my day of celebration to challenge me. It is an insult to both me and all of these proud Alorinthians. Looking deep into our core, you say we're not good enough. We honor the traditions of the ancients, as we should. Without them, we wouldn't be here today. You want to tear us apart. You want to create a nation that's weak, just like the mainland.
No, you've got it all wrong. Lack of strength is not a weakness. The unity of the mainland, their shared ideals, that's true strength. You stand here, alone, victim to your incessant squabbling.
I expected you to be just a little bit more calmer than that when you were doing this. Vivian takes a few steps toward the throne with intense passion. I could tell that this is something he'd really fight with his life for.
We yield to no one while they are docile slaves of the Triumvirate. They crush the mainlanders under their heel, who ask no questions at all. Alorinthia is a free land. We make our own choices, and we hold the power.
Pro pushes me aside and steps forward, standing beside Vivian. Ulrich reaches out to stop him, but he's not quick enough.
Then help us gain our freedom.
All eyes are diverted our way, and even Vivian seems surprised.
We've come here seeking an alliance. We're not all mindless slaves, you know?
An alliance? And what can you offer me? You look as if I could crush you with one hand.
I'm stronger than you think. We all are. We grew up alone on the streets of Mazeo. If we weren't strong, we'd be long dead by now.
You? On the streets of Mazeo? My apologies. That is quite respectable. You must be part of the Monarch's crew.
Yes, and we've come to seek your aid. You keep talking about how strong you are, and help us take down those who claim godhood.
Everyone watches in awe as this turns into a standoff.
And what do I get in return?
Pro steps forward, confidence radiating from the way he moves.
I will be your champion and offer some of our forces. Together we can crush Vivian's pathetic insurrection. Allow us this chance to prove our strength as worthy allies.
This better be a gambit, Pro. He kneels down, offering his loyalty to Draycu. What's he doing? He's playing right into Draycu's hand. Westy told us that Draycu needed our army. He's only playing dumb. Draycu steps down the stairs leading to his throne. He stays far from Vivian and Pro, but now they're level.
What an unconventional turn of events. Vivian, you were seeking a challenge, yes?
Yes, at the break of dawn, I will allow you your final night of revelry.
And who will fight as your champion?
Ulrich.
He motions back toward Ulrich, who steps forward. Standing beside Vivian, his loyalty and stance is clear.
I see.
Draycu eyes Pro up and down.
And what do they call you?
They call me Pro, Your Excellence. It would be my honor to fight with you in the Colosseum. I offer my life and the life of our forces to your cause.
I step forward, ready to object to these events, but Draycu speaks first.
I accept your offer, Pro. Vivian isn't worth using my own men. But You lack the authority to make this pledge.
He looks straight at me, eyeing the blade on my back.
That decision lies with the monarch. Help me defeat Vivian, and I will offer you my might. Go against me, and I cannot guarantee your survival.
This is all happening so fast, but I know that's Draycu's plan. He wants us to fight his battle for him. I don't even know if he's trustworthy. But Pro and his haste put me in an almost impossible position to manage. If I sided with Vivian and Ulrich, we'd have to fight Pro and Draycu. Draycu would have our forces as backup, and Vivian would have his. This is a fight to the death, so major losses seemed unavoidable. This battle would likely happen regardless of my support, so not picking a side would only harm our cause in the long run. But choosing Pro over Ulrich, or vice versa, could hurt our bond. I closed my eyes and clenched my fists together. I needed to stop thinking about this so personally. People would die either way. This is war. It's unavoidable. So the real question is, what kind of future do I want for Alarinthia? Do I want Draycu to reign in power and for things to remain unchanged? Or do I want Vivian to overthrow the nation and ally Alarinthia with the mainland? No, I need to detach myself even further. No Pro, no Ulrich. No Draycu, no Vivian. Just Alarinthia, that's all.
Monarch, what is your decree? Fight with me and prove yourself worthy of my help? Or fight with Vivian against thousands of years of tradition?
We have a choice. A, I want Alarinthia to stay the same, or B, I want Alarinthia to change its ways. I'm going to go to the prefs because I don't know if this one is timed, and I need a drink of water. This is the first time in this game where I am legitimately scared of the outcome. Because I am wondering if it's gonna fucking... Excuse me a moment. Yeah, no, we're good. I am wondering... Excuse me. If it's going to cause the death of a character. Oh, I don't feel good about this. Vivian. I take a deep breath before announcing my choice. We'd help Vivian in exchange for the forces he could offer. We'd defeat Draycu and give this nation a new and bright future. But that meant we'd be fighting against Pro in the Colosseum. He so foolishly pledged his support I had no idea how to react. I never expected insubordination and borderline betrayal from this.
Our lives were on the line. I had to make the right choice. I'd rather live with Draycu than sacrifice myself for Vivian. Ulrich has the wrong idea. What he's doing is suicide.
Everybody starts to part ways, but the doors remain locked. People try to open them, but Draycu quickly makes them stop.
None of you shall leave. I wouldn't want you running away.
He claps his hands and a bunch of servants approach him.
Private quarters will be arranged for those involved in the fight. Tomorrow morning, you will all be escorted to the Colosseum. For tonight, enjoy the ball. I think you'll find it quite exquisite.
Troop morale has risen by 5%. Cool. After that, everybody goes back to enjoying the festivities. Oh, I also wanted to check. Regardless of our allegiance, we all gather up in the center of the room. I never expected that this chain of events would get so complicated. Well, also, let's see. What? So our morale rose by 5, but what did the other ones do? Wait. Corruption rose. Corruption rose by picking Vivian. And Draycu handled it in such a calm manner, too. It's almost as if he was confident in his ability to win. Uncertainty, confusion, and fright soon fill my mind. He played us. He provoked Pro into pledging his loyalty. At that point, it was already too late. Pro made up his mind. Unknowingly, we all became pawns in the fight for Alarenthia's future. I should probably roam around the ball until it's time to rest. I could feel out the situation and get feedback from my comrades. That would be key to helping me sort out this ongoing mess in my mind. Oh my god. Fortim, don't be a dunce.
Hey, Draycu?
Yes?
This is a really nice castle you've got here.
Thank you.
I was admiring it from the outside. I noticed it's built in a really interesting way. It's pretty bumpy. Lots of places for footholds.
Footholds?
Yeah, like places to rest your feet. I was actually going to ask you about that. Was it built that way intentionally? For climbing?
Every ruler adds to this castle in their own way. I've been in power for several decades by now. You're the only one who's ever noticed my addition.
No fucking way!
You made it that way? Does that mean you like to climb too?
Yes, it does. That's how I start my day. There's no workout quite like it.
You've gotta be fucking shitting me.
Do you use some special equipment? I got some metallic claw-like things in Museo.
I have no use for such things. I prefer to go it alone, without safety.
Oh my
Makes
fucking
you
god.
regret every little move. One accident and you fall to your death. You don't need those claws. Just climb smarter. A handicap takes away your sense of achievement.
I think I'll need them, actually. I'm planning to climb the Grand Tree in Valenorth. If you saw it, you'd understand the necessity.
The Grand Tree. Does it live up to its namesake?
Yeah, it does. It's probably the ultimate challenge. It overlooks the entire world, you know?
Interesting. Very interesting. Perhaps I should pay Valenorth a visit one day. I never thought the mainland could provide me with a challenge.
Oh, it can. Trust me. I've been climbing my entire life. Want to hear about more fun places?
I can spare some time, yeah.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my god, I didn't think that'd actually work. Oh my god. Fortum talking with Draycu about climbing. I didn't think that'd succeed, to be completely honest. Oh, that's brilliant. That's fucking great. Oh, I should have done the Ulrich and Pro one first, because this is probably gonna be sad. Sad or intrigue, I don't know.
Pro, what do you think you're doing? I had a plan, and now you've ruined everything.
Sorry, Ulrich. It just made sense. This is a fight to the death, right? Draycu has never lost. I had to do it.
Again, please tell me this is some sort of gambit.
I had everything under control.
It's not your job to control everything. You need to get that through your thick skull.
You're going to regret this.
Regret? I can live with that. It's better than dying for nothing. Draycu has killed stronger men than you. I don't think he's going to lose this battle. That's why I want to be on his good side.
So you're just going to suck up to him? Get out of my sight, Pro. You're pitiful.
Okay. So let's start with Fortim, I guess. Any thoughts on what just went down?
I'm glad you sided with Ulrich and Vivian. It's important to change this nation for the better. I just wish Pro didn't have to open his big mouth. there's a very real chance that he'll die tomorrow. We've seen Ulrich fight. I think he'll win this battle. I just hope it's Draycu that falls, not Pro. That sounds like a horrible thing to say, I know. But we've all grown so close since we met at Peregrino. I'm scared this clash of ideals will tear our bonds apart. I need to get my mind off that or I'll go crazy. If you need me, I'll be in the ballroom down the hall. I heard they have a live band, and I love music.
Okay, that was it. We're probably gonna get chewed out by Hal. So what do you think of everything?
We believe you made the wrong choice, Monarch. Draycu has yet to lose any fights in the Colosseum. This fight doesn't appear to be any different. The strength he could have offered was incredible too, but instead you've decided to choose the weaker man. Ideals aside, choosing weakness makes no sense. Who cares about a changed Alarinthia if we lose the war? We could give Vivian what he wants, and then march to our deaths. Strength is what wins wars, not the desire for change, and not hope. We will be exploring the castle if you need us. The ballroom is our next stop, so we can meet there. In the meantime, enjoy this ball as much as you can.
Okay, that's two who are headed for the ballroom. And I wonder if that means there's going to be something else there.
Hey,
What are your thoughts on what just happened?
I think you sided against me. In the future, I'll remember that. I thought we were friends, you know? When the fighting starts, I won't hold back. I just want to be on Draycu's good side, you know? If he ends up winning, I still want to form an alliance. But if Vivian wins? Well, I don't know. That means either myself or Draycu would be dead. I'm not going to think about that. Let's go check out the ball.
Okay, everybody's kind of muted. Muted being, like, not saying much.
Hey,
And what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
I'm grateful for your support. I really am. I've always told you how much I want to change this place. And now I'm getting the chance. This almost feels like a dream. I'm not a fan of what Pro did, though. I hate to say this, but I'm prepared to kill him. If I see an opening, I have to take it, Monarch. I think I need a few drinks after all of this. Truth be told, I'm still a little confused about everything. But I assume that confusion will wane when the battle starts. I'm going to go check out the rest of the castle. I'll see you around. Remember, party responsibly.
Okay. So we now have the opportunity to go see the ballroom, and we have a corruption choice. We have a corruption notification. Ballroom. When I entered the ballroom, I noticed my comrades scattered about. They're all enjoying themselves and having the time of their lives. Draycu spared no expense. This was fancier than anything I've ever seen. There's a live band playing music that's pleasant to the ear. Couples sway about on the dance floor while others feast on a buffet. An open bar attracts many patrons. There's something for everyone here. My comrades notice me and give me smiles as they enjoy the party. As I'm about to step forward, somebody bumps into me from behind. It was clearly on purpose to grab my attention. I quickly turn around.
I hope you're prepared to fight, Monarch. You'll be among the soldiers during tomorrow's fight. Regardless of your allegiance, I'm excited to see your abilities. I would be honored to know that you gave it your all. Either way, I thought it would be best to come meet you here. You're a guest in my castle, not a prisoner, as it may have seemed. It's just tradition for challenges. They're mostly issued at the castle. It ensures that the people involved in the fight can't back out. We take these battles very seriously, as you could tell.
I nod. That much was clear.
I hope we haven't issued any offense.
What the fuck? You can flirt with Draycu? Excuse me? That's the last thing I was expecting. Oh dear. Oh, there's a part of me that doesn't like the implications of the fact that I can flirt with Draycu. Okay. Nobody in chat, so I'm just gonna do. Of course not. Everything is just fine.
I'm glad to hear it. Thank you for your cooperation. With that said, I have a ball to enjoy.
He walks into the ballroom and it is quickly crowded by people. Reading every single one, he ensures that they're all happy. He's very charismatic. Everyone painted him as a savage man. I noticed Dominic and Valessa standing off to the side. They don't seem overly interested in joining the party. I didn't get their input yet, so maybe I should approach them. I take a few steps forward as to not block the entrance of the ballroom. The music gets louder and the reverberation fills the grand room. The sight and sound combine to make an utterly beautiful experience. I try to enjoy this before retiring to my private quarters. When I was ready to sleep and then fight, that's where I'd go. I couldn't delay it forever, but I could occupy myself for a bit. Okay, interesting. We have quite a bit here. Let's start with Halen. While the bodies swayed on the dance floor, Halen and Shane did a dance of their own. Weapons clashing, they sparred. It was time for Halen to put his new apprentice to the test. So far, it seems that their skill was equally matched, a deadlock of the best variety.
You put up more of a fight than Sophie ever did. Where did you learn techniques like that, Shane? It almost feels like you're the teacher in this scenario.
You pick up a lot of stuff on the streets of Museo. Back when I was younger, it was either fight or die. A lot of the rebels are just like me, so get used to it.
There we go. I had to get rid of a stupid spam text.
Let me guess, you all banded together after the occupation. That means if I learn your weakness, I learn theirs. A weak strategy. All sharing the same fighting style?
Well, now I know why you wanted to spar so soon, and here I thought you might be warming up to me.
Don't flatter yourself, Shane.
Then stop giving me reasons to.
Their weapons clash again, Halen's sword with Shane's daggers. He had no problem being Halen's match with such small weapons. His agility and quick thinking was more than enough to counter raw strength.
I guess Sophie wasn't much of a fighter.
He used to be, but I could tell he always held back. There was doubt in his mind, and it clouded his judgment. I trusted it would go away, but you know what happened next.
Yeah, and he's paying for his mistakes. But you can trust me, Halen. I won't let you down. Remember what I did when we were in Mazeo.
You killed your former leader, your best friend. I don't need anything else from you, Shane. That proves your loyalty almost tenfold.
Good.
Shane sheathes his daggers, done with the sparring.
So what do you think Sophie will do next? I mean, he's no longer welcome in Balteus, right?
I saw him wandering the halls before he left. It's funny. He might actually try to seek out the blade. He was saying something about Alarinthia over and over.
What makes him think it'll be in Alarinthia?
Well, the rebellion will try its hardest to survive. After what we did, it makes sense that they'd flee the mainland. They can't come here, so the only other option is Alarinthia.
Makes sense when you put it that way. Maybe he can regain his honor after all. But I have to ask, why aren't we going?
The rebellion will come here eventually. We have the home advantage if we sit and wait. There's no way they can overpower our army.
That's smart. So we're really doing this. We're going to end the rebellion.
And any more that may come. I sense a bright future for us, Shane. And we'll do it all. For the Triumvirate.
Yeah, for the Triumvirate.
Things are heating up, but they still don't know Domic's alive! Valissa and Ulrich.
Oh, this place is incredible. Draycu sure knows how to throw a party. What about you, Ulrich? Having fun?
Draycu was my enemy, Valessa. We're practically being held prisoner. Despite that, yeah, I'm having a good time.
I could tell, actually. How many drinks is that? 5? You don't want to fight with a hangover, do you?
It wouldn't be the first time. I've taught myself to fight in any state of being. Just something you learn to do when you're as old as I am.
And how old is that?
Old enough. Besides, I doubt I'll have much trouble tomorrow. Even if I fought Draycu while drunk, I could take him down. So don't worry about my well-being. I've got this.
You can fight while you're drunk, too?
Of course. It actually makes things easier. Your movements are sloppy and unpredictable. That's all you need to confuse and overpower your opponent.
Are you gonna get yourself drunk and then have hair of the dog before you go actually do it?
Wow, I never thought of it that way. That's a pretty unique fighting style. You'll be sober tomorrow, though, right?
Depends on how tonight goes. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. Just go and have a good time, alright?
Alright, if you say so. This is gonna be super interesting. 2 undefeated men, locked in combat.
Yeah, I'll make sure to put on a good show for you. It's like a sport. Everybody will be watching intently. You better cheer for me. I'll be listening, Valessa.
Sure.
Dominic and Pro?
So, Pro, are you having a good time?
Of course. All according to plan. I know Ulrich is mad, but he'll get over it. We can win this without either of us dying.
Yeah, just take out the leader, right? Ulrich is stubborn, though, so be careful. I think he might actually try to kill you.
I've been watching him spar for years. I'll be fine. I know exactly how he operates. The best weapon is knowledge, right?
You remembered my lessons.
How could I forget? It'll help me win this battle. I know it. Make sure to cheer me on, all right?
I think I'd like to remain silent, actually. I can't be taking sides at a time like this. As long as we get an alliance, I'm happy.
Oh, come on. Not even gonna clap for me. I'll remember that when you give another speech.
I think my days of giving speeches are over, Pro. That honor belongs to the monarch now. But I'm sure they'd say the same as me.
Man, I hate how neutral everybody is acting. Sometimes it's all right to take a side.
Well, it's not that I'm not taking a side. It's more like, I shouldn't gossip to you. You're a combatant. It'd affect your morale.
What an interesting way to tell me that you side with Ulrich. Sometimes not saying something tells me all I need to hear.
Now you're just putting words in my mouth. The only person I tell is the monarch.
Interesting.
What?
You're not the first person to unconditionally trust the monarch. Perhaps I could use that to my advantage in the future.
I think this is where I get back to the party. This whole scheming business isn't really for me, but I doubt the monarch would abuse their role for you.
You're probably right, Dominic. They'd have to do it without knowing. Just imagine the swindling I could do.
I thought you said you were gonna go back on that, Pro. Alright, Fortem and Howell.
Do we know how to throw parties or what?
Who do you mean by we?
Our people, like the pure ones. We're different civilizations, remember? Did the old monarchy party like this?
This line of questioning is pointless. Why do you wish to know such trivial information?
It's what friends do, Howell. Haven't you ever heard of hanging out? You just talk to each other about everything.
Well, the old monarchy did party. And to be honest, there isn't much difference. Do you see this as a sort of competition?
Not exactly. Well, maybe? It's always cool to know you have the most fun. Do you not compare yourself to other people?
That would be a waste of time. There is no benefit in being like other people. We simply wish to be ourselves, unique.
See? This is what friends do. They just talk. Keep going, Hal. Tell me what's on your mind. You don't need a specific topic or anything.
We would ask, why you consider us a friend? Does the world benefit from this conversation? Is there a purpose to this sort of interaction? Perhaps we should talk about the matter at hand. There is much to discuss about Vivian and Draycu.
Nope, we can't talk about that. That's work stuff. We're here to unwind.
Another concept we do not understand. Every moment we waste, the enemy gets stronger.
It's not a waste, though. If our bond grows stronger, then so do we. It's important to get along with your comrades, Howl.
Good luck, Fortum. You're trying to teach a robot to love.
Very well. We will try. This party is an interesting experience. Are you having a good time, Fortame?
Oh my god. Oh my god, that is almost the variant of yes, I am human. Are you having also human times?
There we go. Now you're doing it right. Just a few more steps and you'll be ready to dance.
Oh god, no, Fortum.
We would rather die.
Oh my god. Okay, and we actually get Valessa and Dominic heart to hearts. Oh, this will be 4 for Dominic. I walk over to Dominic as he's standing alone in the corner of the ballroom. He looks a bit awkward, like he knows he doesn't fit in, but I don't blame him. With the story he told me last time, I knew a crowded ballroom floor would frighten him.
Hey there, Monarch. I hope you're having a good time. I mean, given the circumstances, of course. I can imagine it's hard to have fun when you know what's coming. Actually, forget I said that. I don't want to ruin your experience. I'm just airing my own grievances. Forgive my venting.
I tell him it's fine and then stand beside him. Together we watch the patrons dance in the center of the room. They look like they're having the time of their lives while we just stand here.
You know, I've been thinking. I faced death back in Museo and I'll face it tomorrow. After that, I'll just go on to face it again when we attack Balteus. I could die tomorrow, or the next day, or the day after. So I keep asking myself, what should I do before I die? A lot comes to mind, but a few are very important to me. I want to go back to where it happened, Monarch. Back to the place where I spent the last moments with my mother. I've never been back there since I grabbed that pendant. I was scared. Just thinking about that place made it seem like it was happening all over again. I can't even imagine what would happen if I went back there for real, you know? It's easy to avoid since the town square is quite large, but I'm done avoiding things.
Poor guy, is he touch aversive and suffering from, like, PTSD? You poor guy.
I could have died back in those tunnels, Monarch. Something like that really puts things into perspective. If I die, I want to make sure I've lived life to the fullest. So that means there's a few things I'd like to do. Most importantly, I'd like to go back to where I lost my mother. I don't want that place to hold power over me. I want the power. You already know about some of my other fears too, but it'd be ill-mannered of me to request your help for those. So, about Museo, I'd just like a good friend to be by my side.
He blushes and shuffles in place. It was clear that he meant his fear of physical contact. I can help with this Museo trip, but I stopped to think about the rest.
Can you say something, Monarch? I don't know if I can handle such an awkward silence.
Okay, that's actually kind of sweet. I'll totally admit it, but... Okay, of course I'll help once we get back... Of course I'll help you once we get back to Museo. Don't worry, Dominic, I can help put all your fears to rest. I enjoy every moment we spend together, even the silent ones. Ooh, that's a big commitment, but I want to choose the flirty. I want to choose the flirty! Why does everybody in this have, like, sad backstories that make me want to be like, no, I'll help you. Let me be there to help you. Except for Ulrich, who apparently is 500 fucking years old. Who's 500 fucking years old and looks like he's 35. Oh, God. I still see no comments, so don't worry, Dominic. I can help put all your fears to rest.
All of them? Then that means... You know what? I'll let you take the lead on that one. We're a long way from Museo after all. I can be patient.
He smiles, almost like a weight was lifted from his shoulders. It would be important for him to enter the final battle with a clear mind. When we got back to the mainland, there was no reason not to help him.
Well, that's pretty much all I had to say. I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing. Unless there's anything else you had to say before you go?
Did I? Was this? I think... Is this? I think this is the save. This is the save. Okay. Woo! We can flirt with him. Doing it.
Oh, really? Did my talk about seizing the day inspire you? I mean, I guess I could keep you company. I don't have any other plans. And just in case it goes badly tomorrow, you deserve a really good night.
Your blushing face is increasingly adorable. He smiles and we walk around the ballroom together. We stop at the buffet table and inspect our potential options.
Alorinthian pastries? Are these any good? If you're seizing the day, then I guess I should too.
He grabs one of them and starts to eat it. After a few bites, he starts to cough and his eyes open wide. He wipes away the crumbs that fall in his attire and blushes embarrassed.
Of course they're infused with alcohol. Somehow. Everything in this nation has some sort of a twist to it. You can never just get what you want in Alarinthia. Well, unless of course I'm talking about you. A fine place to have our first date, despite the circumstances. When you forget about the Colosseum nonsense, this isn't too bad.
You can't just get what you want and really with us. Of course I'm talking about you. Is that a fucking... Ye flirt.
If things go well, then maybe we can come back next year. People do that stuff, right? I mean, celebrate anniversaries. When you take the throne, you can travel wherever you want. And I'd be honored if you let me stand by your side. You know, I was always too scared to flirt or bond with anybody. But I guess a changed perspective is one benefit of a near-death experience. If you could even call it near, I'm pretty sure I did die. And if you want to know what scared me the most, nothing happened. When I was younger, they said I'd see my mother again in the afterlife. That's kind of what kept me going. That thought made me happy. In fact, I even smiled in my final moments. I'd finally see her again. The world is a cruel place, though. And of course, nothing happened. Until I opened my eyes again and saw you and Howl. That changed something inside of me. My priorities shifted. The thought of seeing my mother again had completely disappeared. If I chased the future, I'd never enjoy the present. That's part of why I agreed to join you on this date, actually. I just wish I was able to realize this sooner, before the attack. The monarchy saved me by using their powers to heal me. I'll never waste the second chance they gave me, never. I'll embrace it and savor every moment until the end.
Oh, you big sweetie. We continue chatting and spending time with one another. The events in Rebel HQ definitely made him a changed man. It was a good change, too. He's seizing the day, as it were. When we return to Museo, I'd take him back to that fateful spot. But with me by his side, I think he'd be able to overcome his past. And when that happened, we'd build a new, happy future. Together. Domek's loyalty scene has now been unlocked. At the end of Act 4, they can be initiated from the war table in Rebel HQ. And we have one more heart-to-heart with Valessa. Which is also her number 4. But have we gotten her 4 yet? Or is this number 3 for her because I accidentally skipped one? I approach Valessa and watch her inspect the buffet table. It looks like she's having a hard time deciding what to eat. It's all free, though, so I'd have some of everything.
Why do they need to put alcohol in everything? These pastries would be fine on their own, you know. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
She fills a plate with a few random sweets. It appears that they're all alcoholic in nature. It sounds fancy, but they're all just doused.
The locals are sure eating this stuff up, though. Call me old-fashioned, but food and drink should stay separate. If this is a delicacy around here, then Alarenthia isn't really my place.
She smiles as she continues filling her plate.
But you gotta eat, right? This isn't the kind of place you want to go hungry. I never thought I'd miss some of the food back in Valinor. But enough about that. Are you having a good time, Monarch? Aside from the whole Colosseum business, of course.
Okay, Draycu sure knows how to throw a party. It's much better now that I'm with you. I'd almost like to stay as prisoner forever. Can't believe Draycu's dare of holding us here. It's alright, I suppose. Shit. I just flirted with Domek. I currently have flirts. I've been on dates with 2 people. I've implied 1. Implied getting it on with 1. Implied intimacy, there we go, with 1. And none of them are female. None of them are female. Again, I'm still a little thrown off by the fact that I could flirt with Draycu. I almost want to go back and see what the fuck that would have done. Okay, yeah, Draycu sure knows how to throw a party.
That's for sure. Everybody seems so happy. It almost makes you forget where we are. I never pictured Alarenthia as peaceful.
She smiles softly while eating the pastries on her plate. It isn't much longer until they're all gone. She must have been starving. I don't blame her. The journey here was taxing in every possible way.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I talked to Alex a little more on the way here. You know, to learn a little bit more about our parents. Part of me was hoping to hear something positive. You know, like they were paragons of virtue or something. I thought maybe, just maybe, they were good people.
As she talks, the live band starts to play a little louder. People flood the dance floor with their partners. Valessa watches all the couples with a wide smile. She places her empty plate back on the table.
Sorry, the music kind of cut me off. Right. I was talking about our parents. I learned so much about them on the trip here.
Going on to a new page. I hope I have enough spaces to do the rest of this. I don't know, I'm inclined to flirt, but is this gonna be weird? I think they could. I don't know if they're gonna have an ending that sufficiently is like, yeah, you keep up relations with all the people you flirted with along the way. How do you do that? Oh God, I don't know. I don't know. Screw it. She nods and smiles.
Just a quick warning, it's not the best atmosphere for this story. I mean, talking about pirates doesn't exactly fill one with joy, but I think it's important to know more about our families. Like I said, I was hoping to hear some good news. I always pictured our parents as these perfect, heroic people. But it turns out they really weren't. They were bad people, Monarch. I know pirates get involved in shady things, but they embraced it. Killing, stealing, smuggling, you name it. They were legends in Museo. They had a whole network operating for them while they were back home. That's how they managed to have a presence in both nations at once. They went to Museo every month or so to inspect their operations in person. Explains how they managed to raise us and balance their double lives. Maybe it's for the best that they passed on when they did. The village and Salus raised us. They gave us our sense of morals. I can't say I'd be too happy if I inherited the morals of our parents. They could have dragged us into the life of piracy as we grew up, too. That would be dangerous. We could have died years ago, you know? If you died, then right now, the world would have no hope at all. So, maybe the occupation was meant to happen. It's guided us to where we are now, shaped us into who we've become. If we let them shape us, then I have no idea where we'd be right now.
And now this poor girl's giving herself an existential crisis. Such a cheery game, isn't it?
It's so weird, since children usually aspire to be like their parents. But right now, I'm using them as a roadmap on what not to do. All I can do is dedicate my life to being better people than them.
This is now making me wonder something about the way our choices are, or have been determined. No, I guess the game would make that obvious if there was the shield by Valessa's option. But, yeah, I guess now I have to double check when I actually get back to the main screen, because I don't know if that's the case. If we chose Nada, would they actually have been good people? Because Nada would look down on them and be like, fuck you. They were terrible. They were fucking idiots. Or would that be one of the things that just doesn't change? I don't know, but I'm now curious.
Maybe that can undo some of the damage they've done. Because I know they tore families apart. They killed and robbed. Some would say that, in the end, being murdered was their justice. But I don't think death is a good form of justice. They should have gotten a chance to make up for their crimes. With them gone, I feel like it's our job to do what they couldn't. So, that's something else I'm going to fight for. I'll make up for the damage our parents inflicted. I'll give the world peace, so no one has to feel pain. We'll make a world that doesn't need people like our parents. A world that treats everyone with unconditional love and equality. No one will have to live in poverty or turn to a life of crime. Nobody deserves to be a victim of circumstance. To have their life determined by the world around them? No, it's not it at all. We shape the world, not the other way around.
She looks in my eyes with overwhelming determination.
So let's shape it into something beautiful. A place where no one has to resort to being evil. I'm sure our parents were introduced to it somehow. It's not like they woke up one day just wanting to be pirates. Maybe it was their parents before them, or some close friends. I guess it doesn't matter, does it? We'll make the cycle end with us. And we'll start a new cycle. One of peace, happiness, and prosperity. One where our children can live full, happy lives.
The music slowly comes to an end and everybody leaves the dance floor. Alessa watches for a while before speaking again, enjoying the moment.
When we get back to Museo, I want to see their old hideout. And I'd really like it if you'd come with me, Monarch. It'll give me a sense of closure. And let me move on. I never thought I'd learn more about our parents in this journey. And I'm even more surprised that it's a truth I never expected. But if I could go back and never learn it, well, I wouldn't. It gives me the drive to become a better person. And it really makes me appreciate everything I have. Including you, Monarch. I could never do this alone.
She smiles and then examines the room.
I'll let you go and tend to some business, Monarch. I should probably talk to Fortum about this stuff too. He deserves to know about his parents just as much as us.
I nod and watch her as she slowly walks away. Only she could turn a horrible truth into such contagious optimism. But she was right. We'd create a better world where no one had to be hurt. Oh, it was. It was actually her number 4. Okay. So that actually does leave everything done here. And yeah, there is no shield here, so... Yeah, purity the whole way, so doesn't matter whether or not I choose Alex or Nada. Alright, let's go to here so I can save here. So we might not be getting to the Colosseum today. It'll probably just be the ball. I thought it was going to, but... As soon as I get to my private quarters, I rest the blade beside the bed. It feels good to get that weight off my shoulders. Too bad the relief would be ephemeral. I sit down in the bed and think about what will be coming in the next few days. A tournament to decide the fate of Alarentia. An alliance to help us attack Balteus. Not even a day or two after the Colosseum battle, we'd be sailing into the final battle. Would we win? Or would we perish? The blade showed me nothing when I asked. I sit down on the bed and decide not to try using the blade again. The anxiety of not being able to know almost wasn't worth it. It was supposed to do what I wanted. Was it not strong enough? The blade was so mysterious I'd probably never know. I lie down, having had enough of today's events. Things were crazy. Just when I think we get to relax, we're pushed into more conflict. But this conflict has clearly proven divisive among our team. Pro and Ulrich against each other. Vivian and Draycu, too. Perhaps this is a lesson that casualties are unavoidable. I close my eyes and hold on to a firm resolve in my heart. No, none of my comrades would die tomorrow. They'd survive. We were all survivors, and that's what we would continue to do. Forever. Instead of falling asleep, however, I find myself someplace familiar. It's the same locale I found myself in after falling asleep in Peregrino. This wasn't just some random dream. I had to be here for a purpose. All I knew was that this is the Triumvirate's chambers. There was no doubt in my mind. But why was I here? Not only once, but twice. There needed to be a reason. The blade weighs heavy on my back, and I slowly pull it out. I can sense that it's pulsating with energy, reacting to something. I notice the idol at the back of their chambers. That's what it was. But why was the blade reacting to something like that? It doesn't look like any spirit idol I've ever seen. What is it? I feel a strong pull, almost like I have no choice but to approach it. God damn it, they're gonna make me go through this again. I take slow, heavy steps toward the idol, and I feel eyes upon me. Not just one or two pairs. It's almost like all of Alestia is watching me. I can sense my comrades at the back, almost as if they're encouraging me. It helps me push forward as I feel resistance emanate from the idol. Why do I feel such a strong pull to something that doesn't want me? I push through in spite of that resistance and continue to act instinctually.
Yes, fulfill your purpose. Do what you were meant to do.
That's the Triumvirate's voice. I remember it from the last time I was here. But I have no idea what they mean by my purpose. Still, I can't deny my instinct, and I keep pressing forward. It isn't much longer before I'm standing in front of the idol. It radiates pure malice and pure evil. It fills me with fright. I look down at my blade. Was I meant to destroy this? I'm confused as to why I'm doing what the Triumvirate tells me to. It's that conflict that causes this dream to end and jolt me awake. I rise up in fright, gripping my chest and panting heavily. I look over at the blade resting on my bedside. What happened? It feels as if no time passed at all, but it's already the next morning. Just what I needed. No rest before a massive battle. The Fates were playing cruel tricks on me during this journey. But I had to keep going. I couldn't give in. It'd be over soon. I stand up and strap the blade to my back. As if on a cue, I hear the knock at the door before it's opened. Draycu steps in, not seeming to care if I was receptive of him.
It's your turn, Monarch.
My turn.
We're transporting you to the Colosseum one by one. That way you're less inclined to try and escape us. You'll be the last one, so it's almost time to fight.
I nod. It all makes sense.
I'd advise not wasting much time, but head to the Colosseum when you're ready. You'll be followed by myself and a few guards. Oh, and good luck. You'll need it. The entire nation will be watching and cheering, but whether it's for your victory or demise remains to be seen.
He rests his back against the wall and crosses his arms. This is really happening. A battle to decide the nation's fate. I guess I'd head to the Colosseum when I was ready to fight. There's a book. The book rests on the nightstand. It appears to be about Colosseum battles. Not regular ones, though, the leadership ones. The kind of battle I'd be fighting in today. I wonder if it was placed here on purpose. We did play into Draycu's hand, after all.
The evolution of tournaments. Initially, rulers of Alarinthia were decided during a simple one-on-one battle, but citizens quickly realized that this was not the best way to gauge a potential ruler's true strength. They needed to add more. This is when the champion system came into play. Each fighter would elect a champion to fight by their side. This would not only test their offensive powers, but show how they handled defensive maneuvers as well. They'd have to fight their enemy and their enemy's champion while also protecting themselves and their champion. This made battles much more fun. Later on, the reserve forces came into play. Each leader would bring a force of about 20 or 30 men into battle with them. This was to make sure they knew how to lead an army efficiently as well. What started out as simple fights to the death have evolved into a full-on sport. Leaders must display their ability to fight, to defend, and to command an army. This ensures that Alarinthia is always in the best possible hands. Only the most competent warriors can win.
Okie dokie. Really all I needed there was a book, so... Travel back to the city? Yes. You know what? Let's just go ahead and do... the Colosseum, because I'm here. Okay, so I visited, but I can't actually return there yet. Colosseum. Do it. I make my way to the Colosseum alongside Draycu and some of his soldiers. It's a massive, towering structure, almost putting the castle to shame. It makes sense that it'd be bigger. Alarinthia was all about fighting.
Well, here we are. If you head on inside, you'll find your allies. After that, you'll all be escorted to a private room. You'll have a few moments to prepare once you're in there, but I'd say within the next hour or two, the battle will be over. They don't last very long if both sides have prepared enough.
He crosses his arms, looks at me dismissively.
You may wonder why I'm doing this, even though you sided against me. The answer to that is, it's in my nature to show my enemies some kindness. I do not kill in cold blood. I will mourn you and honor your memory, Monarch. It is a noble thing to die for your beliefs. Perhaps your memory will inspire future generations. Generations that can go on to be killed, just like you.
You have simultaneously made me like you in the previous one, and then made me want to spit in your face in this one. He steps forward, looking me dead in the eye.
I do not expect to lose to Vivian. I've killed far stronger men than him. Some would call you foolish for your choice.
With a smile, he lets out a soft laugh.
But I am not one of those people. As I said, I treat my enemies with kindness. You may have realized it, but that's why I held the ball. But the ball is over, so I must find another way to be kind. And that is showing you a swift, painless end in the Colosseum. You wish to die for your beliefs. It would be my honor to aid you.
After saying these harsh words, he enters the Colosseum. I have no choice but to follow him as the guards block any avenue of escape. There's no way we'd lose. We have Ulrich on our side. He's a match for Draycu. Sylvie! Sylvie looks on at the ocean, watching the ripples and waves. He remains silent, attracting the suspicion of the captain. Approaching Sylvie, he attempts to converse to pass the time.
It shouldn't be longer than a few more hours, but I have to ask, what brings you to Alarinthia?
It's probably better for you not to know. I don't want to involve people in my problems.
Involve away. What else are we going to do? You paid me tenfold to take you and you alone. How can you expect me not to question that?
I expect you to do the job you're paid for. Anything else is unnecessary. Don't you agree?
Look, the way I see it, we're friends here. If you need a ferryman back, I'd love to help you out. Treat me with a cold shoulder and you could get stranded.
Is that a threat?
Of course not. I'm just curious. Here, let's start with the basics. What kind of work do you do? You already know what I do for a living. Don't you think I deserve to know as a courtesy? I don't care if you're breaking the law or anything like that.
No, I'm not breaking the law. But honestly, I don't know how to answer your question. I guess you could say that I'm between things right now.
And why is that?
I thought it was time to seek out better opportunities.
In Alarinthia?
To be honest, I have no idea. I just know some people who might be there. Talking to them should get things on the right track.
And what line of work are you in?
I guess you could say I seek out information. Nothing pleases me greater than learning the truth. But the people I worked for were far less than honest.
Lied to by your bosses? Join the club. They'll do anything to save face and get their way. That's part of why I work on my own now. I get you.
The captain scoffs, surprised at Sophie's earlier hesitance.
Is that what you were so worried to open up about? Trust me, almost everybody knows what that's like. I hope your next opportunity is more fruitful.
I can only hope.
So what did they lie to you about?
Everything.
Then I can see why you'd run away.
Excuse me?
I just mean, it's totally understandable.
Sophie steps toward the captain, clenching his fists. He brings himself face to face as if trying to intimidate.
I'm not running away. I'm doing what's right.
The captain matches his gaze, taking one step forward. He didn't give in to Sophie's intimidation. He was an even match.
Sometimes running away is the right thing to do.
They stare at each other until Sophie backs away. Something was different. Normally he would stand his ground. But he no longer served the triumvirate. He had nothing to prove.
I'm sorry. You're right. I didn't mean to start something on your boat. Once we get to Alarinthia, you'll never see me again.
There's no need to go that far. Don't misunderstand me. I've got your back. You're not the only man who's run away, you know. Why else do you think I live at sea? Sometimes I don't set foot on land for weeks at a time. I prefer to be out here, where I live on my own terms. I'm free.
Free,
Yeah, there's no better way to live. Imagine not being shackled by higher-ups. You're fully capable of making your own decisions.
Sophie sighs and looks down at the ground. It was his own decision that got him into this mess to begin with. But even though the triumvirate wasn't pleased, he stood by his actions.
That would be wonderful. I've been a subordinate for my entire life. I think it's finally time that I carved my own path.
Interesting. Alright, main atrium. I enter the Colosseum and quickly scan the area for my friends. A massive flame burns in the center of the room, making the heat even worse. I wonder why they do something like that. This place confuses me sometimes. Draycu is nowhere to be seen. Perhaps he's already in the private room. I notice Valessa, Fortum, and Howl standing far away from the flame. No sign of anybody else, though. I decide to approach them and ask them what's up. They turn to me and smile, while Howl shows the face of complete indifference.
I can't believe how cool this place is. Too bad I can't actually enjoy it. I'm super stressed. I'm really worried that we might lose somebody today.
Overtaken by yawn and stretch, give me a moment. There we go.
Have we actually worked out who's fighting? I mean, Which of our members are joining Draycu's reserve forces? The leader and the champion we know, but what about everyone else?
Howl steps forward.
Ulrich fights with Vivian. Pro fights with Draycu. Vivian's reserve forces are part of his own army. Draycu's reserve forces will borrow from our army. We believe using our created seers will be the best idea. We wouldn't want to put any of our main members at risk. If we win, our allegiance will make this sacrifice worthwhile. It is unfortunate that we will have to kill our own, but we cannot change what Pro has set in motion. All we can do is try to focus on taking Draycu's life.
He looks at me.
As for Valessa's question, the Monarch will fight among Vivian's reserve forces. It is important for a leader to fight for their beliefs. No delegation at times like this. This means that several of our key members will be put in harm's way. It may be impossible for us to avoid the loss of our reserve forces, but we may be able to win without losing any of our comrades. We must simply focus on the lives of Vivian and Draycu.
He crosses his arms, speaking sternly. It was more of a demand than a request.
Do your best to kill Draycu before any harm can come to Pro or Ulrich. We have the option to mitigate our losses, so we must take it.
Again, increasingly scared. No pressure or anything like that.
So you'll be safe, Hal? Along with myself and Fortum? What about Dominic? He ran off with Pro and Ulrich.
I suppose we'll find out. We should head to the private rooms and prepare. The battle will be starting in a matter of minutes.
Dominic ran off with both of the champions. That's odd. I guess they've been close friends for a long time, though. Perhaps he just wants a chance to say goodbye to them. The odds of survival for everybody involved were less than stellar. But there's nothing we could do. Everything was put into place.
Let's go ask him ourselves, Monarch. This whole ordeal is kind of confusing. For a while, I was scared I'd have to fight.
Yeah, same. And I was really worried. But now I feel bad that I'm just going to watch. This whole situation is so messed up.
It is less than ideal, yes. But we cannot change our circumstances. Let us gather together for last-minute preparations. Only by preparing for the coming storm can we avoid tragedy. If we stand here any longer, the odds of losing our comrades will grow. Do not let the enemy get the upper hand. That has happened enough.
He points to a nearby staircase. That must lead to the private room. Yeah, everything was happening so fast. I could use a few moments to plan. One last team huddle before the fight would help. We need to minimize our losses. We need to make it through this without losing Pro or Ulrich. If such a thing is even possible, then we'll find out how to do it. And if it's not, well, I honestly don't know what I'd do. Howl Heart to Heart 3. Howl stands in the middle of the Colosseum lobby. Staring deep in the flames, it looks like he's lost in thought. He's whispering to himself, but I'm unable to discern his words. I take slow, cautious steps toward him, curious as to what he's doing. But like always, he reacts before I can initiate the conversation.
We knew you'd be there, Monarch.
I take a few steps back and cross my arms. He turns to face me and looks into my eyes.
A few steps backward, as always. But away from what? Do you fear us? No, you mustn't. You still choose to talk with us. Join us, and we shall look into the flames together. Like our vision, it is always changing, never the same. We've thought about this a lot since we talked on the boat.
He turns back to face the flames, and I stand by his side. Together we look into the flames, with the heat assailing us. It feels almost unbearable at first, but I soon get used to it.
I know what you're feeling, Monarch. We felt the same when our vision first went astray, but now we find ourselves asking, is it actually astray? Seeing both the future and the past, is it really bad? For example, we see Draycu win the battle, but also Vivian. We see Pro fall, and Ulrich fall. We even see a future where you fall. Instead of seeing only ahead, We see in every direction. It is almost like a natural evolution to the power we hold. If we can learn to control this, it would be a tremendous boon. The same goes for the visions of the past. Different outcomes, different information, secrets revealed. What if we could search these alternate paths for information? Let us look at the attack on the Rebel HQ in Mazio. Perhaps a past exists where Damak found out about it. Not useful now, but I think you see what we're suggesting.
It makes sense. You're seeing alternate versions of the past. Perhaps visions exist where information comes to light early. If you could learn to control this power, it would help us tremendously. For example, what if a past exists where we didn't bother with Alarinthia? You could search through memories of our attack on Balteus and glean information. Perhaps we've even made it far enough to learn the Triumvirate's true identity. But unless you could control this power, it'd be useless to speculate. It hurts my head just to think about, but I've seen alternate futures firsthand. I have to consider the possibility of alternate pasts as well. It stands to reason. There was no real explanation either, so we're both oddities. The old monarchy had the power of visions, but where did they come from? Howell turns to face me, the flames illuminating his differently colored eyes.
We wish to try to master this ability before the final battle. If we can gain any useful information, it would aid our attack on Balteus, especially if it can help us uncover any traitors within our ranks.
Traitors?
The more we think about it, the more it makes sense. In the Rebel HQ, you were as lambs to the slaughter. The Triumvirate must have been tipped off somehow. Rest assured that if there is a traitor, we will find them. After that, their fate and punishment is yours to decide. It is unlikely that Shane is the only turncoat among you.
The thought fills me with fright.
Bro even walks along the path of disloyalty, siding with Draycu. And making things more complicated, we will keep a closer eye on him. He's most suspicious.
I must admit, Pro's actions did confuse me. In fact, everybody in Alarenthia confused me. They treat this Colosseum business like afternoon tea. Like all this death is just a daily occurrence for them. At least it kept them introverted. The Triumvirate would like that. Those focused on fighting themselves would be less inclined to rebel.
There is more to this story than we know. We hope that in the end, an alliance is formed. We would prefer to leave this nation as soon as possible. An endless cycle of death, creating strength. Each leader falls to someone stronger than themselves. Through death and sacrifice, Alarinthia gains power. We would prefer to gain power through other means. When you rule this world, Monarch, please consider this. Do not walk down a path similar to the Triumvirate. The occupation was a prime example of their nature. They kill others to gain strength, to ensure they rule. It would pain us to see you become like that. It truly would.
He stares at the sword on my back.
Because you may follow after them without even knowing it. For now, that is all we have to say. There are no other concerns. Next time we talk, perhaps more will have come to light. At least, we hope.
I step away, taking his hint. I can see how mastering his new visions would be helpful. But if any traitors are revealed, that would be devastating. These were alternate pasts, he said so himself. What if someone is a traitor only in some far-off past? We could end up punishing somebody innocent and loyal. His words were as cryptic as always, especially about cycles. I know I wield the Triumvirate's blade, but I am not like them. The cycle of death and tyranny would end by my hand alone. I look back over my shoulder and see he's still... Yeah. I don't know why I added like 5 new words in that one. I look back over my shoulder and he's still staring into the flames. Every time I talk to him, he tells me something new about his powers. As we approach our final battle, however, he'd be more rushed than ever. If there were any secrets to be learned, I trust that he could do it. But as always, a few major questions find themselves at the top of my list. Who was the Triumvirate? Why did they require purity? Are there any traitors? It seemed that Hal would be the key to solving all of these mysteries and more. The power that he saw as a curse was now turning into a bountiful source of hope. That was a miracle of changing views. Your curses and your faults become strengths. If there's anything that would carry us to victory, it would be finding that inner strength. Alright, to private room. You know what? No, I am going to save the actual Colosseum fight for next time. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it on a bit of a cliffhanger. What is fucking Domek doing with Ulrich and Pro? Who is going to come out of this battle? How is this battle even going to be fucking structured? I have no idea. So, until then, thank you all so much for watching. And a reminder if you are on YouTube, I don't know how long we go, but this is a backseater. I am allowing people to come here and choose. I just didn't have anybody this time around in the chat to actually do the choosing. So if you want to come in and help me choose, please do so. I am constantly placing backseat gaming on these streams, so please come in here and help me. But yeah, that'll be all for right now. Thank you all so much for watching. And until we meet again on these dusty trails, have a howling good day. Take care.